Here, so officially we start the today's webinar that is bring your Unity game to the Samsung Galaxy Store. I'm going to go through some of the slides first, then we're going to have a little bit more of a hands-on afterwards. So bear with me this part, and I'm going to start introducing myself. So my name is Diego. I'm a senior developer evangelist with Samsung, and pretty much I'm part of the developer program team, and we just make certain that we create the content and the right relations with developers in case that you guys need help creating applications that it could be for the phones, for watches, for almost any Samsung device that you may be interested in. So that's what we do. That's what my team is in charge of. And well, I've been working with them for quite some time doing exactly that. Really quick, we're going to go through the agenda. So it's going to be 3 different parts. And the first one is going to be what is the Samsung Galaxy Store. This is really the only part that we're going to have like slides. Almost everything else is going to be a little bit more conversation. It's going to be a little bit more hands-on, showing you what to do. And that's where we get into the other 2 parts, that is how to create your APK in Unity. So obviously the binary that you're going to submit to the Galaxy Store. We're going to check that really quick. And finally, going to the Galaxy Store, and we're going to see how to publish your game in the Galaxy Store itself. So we're going to check the details. There are some things that are not really that complicated, but I wanted to show you and bring some comments on some of the things that you can do. So if it's the first time that you submit a game to the Galaxy Store, you have a better idea of what to expect, what to do, and yeah, like we can start doing that. I also would like to announce already that we have a tentative date of August 11th for a similar webinar to this one, and it's going to be focused on the in-app purchase SDK. So what I'm going, and it's also going to be for games. So we're going to be taking is an actual sample, quite like one of the Unity samples that you're going to find easily in the Unity page. And we're going to integrate it with the in-app purchase SDK, Samsung's in-app purchase SDK. So see this webinar today almost as part 1 of this series, focused on Unity. And then the next one that is going to be almost 2 weeks from now, we are going to be focusing a little bit more on the in-app purchase SDK. Of course, in both, I try to give access to people to ask questions through the chat, through the Q&A. And if you come back 2 weeks from now and you have a specific question about what we checked today, then you're, well, more than welcome to let us know, ask any question, and see where we go from there. So where are you going to find the official announcement for this webinar? And the link, you quite likely you can find it here in the developersamsung.com, or you can follow us on Twitter, or follow me too. At the end, I'm going to show you some of those links so you can see the announcement and come back for more content around Unity and about the Samsung technologies. That being said, we're going to start with the first part, that is like, what is the Samsung Galaxy Store? So the Galaxy Store is a boutique curated app store. So it's obviously created for Samsung devices, and you're going to get apps and games that come from major brands, and also from developers that have been pretty much well checked by the Samsung review process. And with that, we make certain that all the apps that we have in the store at any given time, they have better quality, and they are more into the Samsung users. And specifically, you also get like some advantages like getting apps and watch faces for the Samsung Galaxy watches. Also, you can get themes for your phones, for your Samsung phones, so that's really cool. And I think one of my colleagues, Tony, he has created already some webinars and videos that you can find in our YouTube, showing you how to create those watch apps, watch faces. Well, I also have done about watch apps, and specifically themes for your Samsung mobile phones. So here you can see some general information. These statistics are kind of the official ones, but that changes month to month, specifically the monthly active users. It's growing, and quite likely this could be already a little bit outdated, but these are the last official ones that we were showing. So that's in case that you are interested, they are there. And really, this is something that I find interesting, and this is kind of like one of the main things that I wanted to talk about in this section. And it's just saying that if you already have a game specifically with Unity, there's a good chance that you're using Unity to publish it on Google Play, perhaps even iOS. So with the Galaxy Store, you have another venue to reach a bigger audience, and you can see 188 countries at the moment. So that's a global distribution that you don't have to think much. And specifically with Unity, since it's pretty much multi-platform, you can, with a few clicks that we're going to check later, uh, publish on the Galaxy Store and reach a bigger audience, and know that you're going to be reaching all those Samsung devices around the world. So I think that is important that you think about the Galaxy Store as another way to promote your games, promote your work, and monetize it, hopefully. So if you see the image here on the side, that's a screenshot that I took this morning. I decided to add it directly to the slides, so just to make it a little bit more interesting. And then you're going to see a little bit more of some of the advantages that you find in the Galaxy Store that has to do with this, how to discover your game in the Galaxy Store. Since we're talking about a more curated experience for the users, then it's going to be much easier for like the players, for anyone that is going to get your app or game, to discover your games. And also through Samsung, you can get access to exclusive deals, special prices, discounts. And at some point, I'm going to show you quite likely the page right after this. And right now, for gamers, we have a new promotion that is like also for games that had to do with the Samsung Rewards. So then, if a gamer goes to the Galaxy Store and begins to download games and interact with them, you're going to get like points, and then that's going to get you additional rewards. So as a developer, this is one of the things that you can try to aim for. This is not something that is offered to any developer, but obviously the first step is to get your game in the Galaxy Store. So this is where I'm going to kind of like pause. After that, you already kind of like saw the next slide is pretty much like two more contact. So we're going to start checking things directly on the browser and on Unity in the Galaxy Store. So let me jump here and make certain that I'm there right. Okay. This is the developer.samsung.com page. This is where I would point almost any developer pretty much to go, regardless if you're creating something with a game, a regular app, if you're creating something for the watch, this is where you're going to find things. So specifically, if you're a developer, you should be interested in this tab, the build, because this is where you're going to have access to the different technologies that you can get there. So including Game Dev, Tizen, that helps you to get things, apps on the watch, and specifically the Galaxy Watch. So this is something that I've spent a lot of time, and you can find previous webinars and videos that I've created around this one. But since today the entire goal is to check the Galaxy Store, you see that right now you have a big banner that is going to lead you there, or you can go to the Distribute tab and you can also get the Galaxy Store, because this is when you are ready to get your application, your game, and share that hard work that you have put into it with the rest of the world. So this is where you're going to go. So I already had a slide open and a tab open for that. This is pretty much what you're going to see, and you can sign in. Well, if you go directly on the second, please, no need to move. Yeah, this one. So if you're going to go directly here, quite likely you're going to get more information about, well, in general, what is the Galaxy Store, and some videos about that help you to understand how to do it and get more information, like learning about the Galaxy Store itself, how to distribute marketing resources that you can use after you have already published your game. But at the end of the day, I just wanted to start with this one. That is like, hey, if you are already going to sign up, what do you do? So we're going to start with that process. We're going to start well, I think I said first that we're going to check on Unity how to publish that. So we're going to leave this part to the end. So let's go directly to Unity. I already have a small game that is a sample that I was able to find, obviously, on with Unity there right away. And for some reason, I think I have errors. Of course, I have errors. As soon as I can, I try to check it. Oh no, well, I didn't. Okay, that's okay. Well, it's a main sample. That's not the important part. What we're going to check here is what to do to create your APK. So if you have already a game in Google Play, quite likely this section, I'm going to go really quick. This is not going to bring you a lot of new information. You already know how to do this. This is to developers that may have not done this part before and wonder like, okay, what are the steps? Specifically, if it's the first time that you do it, I would recommend to go to learn.unity.com because you're going to find most of the official information and tutorials from Unity directly here. And if you type on the search box Android, you're going to find immediately this publishing for Android that is going to help you in around 30 minutes to tell you exactly what are the steps that you have to do to create the APK. So the APK, if you don't know what it is pretty much a file, the binary of your game that is going to be submitted to the different stores. So it could be Google Play, or in this case, what we're going to check is the Galaxy Store. So the first thing that you need to do is, if you have your Unity Hub, is to make certain that you have the correct packages, that you have the right packages installed. And then you can go to, well, the different sections and go to the installs, check the one that you have here. In this case, I have this 2019 version, and you can add modules. And one of the first ones that appear is Android. So if this is not selected, in this case, I already have installed it because, well, it takes some time to download several gigabytes. I did this before the webinar. If you don't have that, then you have to check, make certain that you're checking all of them, and then you're going to be able to click install. So in this case, if you wanted to do that, and if in this case, when it's done, gives you all the prompting, you should be able to see something like this, and then you should be ready to go. Now, after that, you can create your own project. That it could be ad, could be one of the tutorials, community, whatever, or even here learn, that is going to pretty much take you to the same pages that I was showing before. When that is done, and you create your project that obviously you should be able to test here on Unity, how do you create your APK? So first thing that you have to do is go to File and find the Build Settings. Then in the list of the platforms, you should be able to check Android. If you have already installed this part, if you have already installed all the packages that you need, you should be able to see the Switch platform button. If you didn't do it, or there was an error, or there was something that was not working correctly, then you are not going to see this. It's going to be something like install packages or build this. You're not going to be able to do it. But now let's go back to where I go, and is go to File, Build Settings, pick Android, and apparently this one already switched. Okay, so I don't know exactly what happened with that error, but if you guys saw, like before, I had this switch to Android. So I don't know if this project, I opened it before and I already switched it to Android, but that's the first step that you should do. So I don't know exactly what happened here, why it closed. It seems that I moved the file somehow. So I think I shouldn't mess with demos before I have to show them. So, but well, that's what we're going to do. Now, if you do this part, you can do different things that most of these are, like you see, are aimed for the Google Play. So like app bundle. So right now for the Galaxy Store, don't mess a lot with this. When we're ready, we should be just able to click build and be done. But before that, we should be able to go to player settings, and we're going to check a couple of options here. So the first thing that obviously you should change is the company name. So if you have already an account created on the Galaxy Store, that we're going to see that a little bit later, that it should be the same one that you have on Google Play, then put that, and it could be like my company, or I don't know, I am awesome 29, whatever it is, the product name. So this is going to be the name of your game. So my awesome game, or whatever it is that you want, and like the preview version. So immediately you also can change the default icon, the default cursor, but really to send to the Galaxy Store, you don't really need to mess much with this. We're going to check a few options, and here you're going to see the different options that is going to be for desktop, for Windows. This is HTML. If you had iOS installed, likely it's going to be shown here. In this case, I just have everything for Android, so you should make certain that you are selecting this tab here, Android settings. When we're in the Android settings, I'm going to go directly with other settings, and we're going to scroll down, and here you're going to be able to find the package name. They already kind of like included this, the format that you should have, and if you see, it tells you like it's a reverse order that you would have for like a website. And you have the name of my company, that usually should be the same one that we have here. Although, well, change those here. You have it here, and you see that I already changed it to My Awesome Game. So changing it here at the top, it's already going to change this here. But if you don't want to do it here, this is the section where you have to do it that is in other settings. The other thing that it would be important here, depending on what you're creating, the audience that you're aiming to reach, you have to select the minimum Android version that you want to hit, and well, you can pretty much decide which one it is. So right now, by default, is showing you the latest version of Unity is supporting, so you have that there. And go and monkey around with all these options, but I would recommend that if it's the first time that you submit to the Galaxy Store, not to get too creative, because if you don't know what you're doing, perhaps you're going to mess something up, and then that could be a little bit of a problem. But well, this is kind of like the main thing that you should make certain that you have the package name correct, that you have the version correctly to set there, and also the minimum version for the Android that is supported that in your game. After that, let me see, publishing settings. So here you're going to store several keys from the different stores. So usually you have to sign that, and you have pretty much two options. That is, create a new key, or select an existing one if you have already something signed there, and then you can do all that. And pretty much if you say like, okay, well, anywhere, whatever, sure, desktop or whatever, like I'm just going to say here. You can pick a password, you can put an alias, the confirm password. Pretty much is just fill the different fields so you can have a new key. So I'm not going to do that part, but then when you build it, you should be able to get this here. So let's see. Okay, that seems to be. So those are kind of like the main things. Here you have other options, like for icons and the splash image and all that, so it gives you that. But this is more for Google Play, so you don't really need to do that. If you already have it, well, that's fine. It's going to be all packed in the APK, but you don't really need it right now. We're going to close here. And then the last thing that you would have to do to create your APK would just be to hit build. So I'm not going to do that now, because last time it took me something like 5 minutes, and I don't think you guys want me to see that, but that's the last thing. So it's going to tell you like, hey, where are you going to put it? So I don't know, on my desktop, you give it a name, and immediately it tells you APK. If it doesn't show you APK, if by any reason, because I've seen that you pick the Google Play bundle, then it's going to show you, I always forget the extension for that one, but I think it's A0 something. I always forget that one. But I know that the correct one is APK, so you don't have to mess with anything, the compression method, the build or anything like that. You just have to do the build here. Now, I think it was on Friday, if I'm not mistaken, in this computer, I already created one that we're going to use for the rest of the webinar, and it's going to be this one, A01. I was incredibly original since it was a sample application. I didn't really get into anything incredibly interesting. But that would be kind of like the first part. Oh, well, obviously, I'm omitting the entire creation of your game, etc., etc. But well, that's the kind of thing that you should be able to do here. And WebEx is not shown. Okay, better. I can move things here. I think this is the one that I. So, like you guys see, and I don't know if you guys heard the music there. It was really loud. I didn't check that before, but it's one of the sample games that you have in Unity. You can download that directly, and I decided 2D just because I like 2D a lot. But obviously, you can download or create your own. Quite likely, you already have something on your own. Now, the last part of the webinar that is really the one that I'm more interested in, and quite likely many of you that may have no experience with the Galaxy Store should be waiting for, and quite likely this other part with creating the APK, many of you may already have a lot of experience. So let's jump into that. So when you get into, well, again, developer.samsung.com, you go to distribute Galaxy Store, or the link that we have here in the big banner at the very top that says Galaxy Store. Then you should be able to get into the option at some point that says like, hey, you're going to get into the Galaxy Store, the seller portal. So you can sign in or sign up. It's going to ask you to have a Samsung account that you can create it there, and it's going to ask you a few things, or it's going to ask you that if you want to continue with Google. So I created a new account with this one, so let's see how that works. And I'm just going to say yes, allow access to this account. And then we're going to go through this entire process and pretty much make a mock submission to the store. So I'm account created, the account, so this is the email that I created, I think this morning, just to be able to do that. And we'll sign up, especially for the webinar, we just can hit agree to all, hit next, and then it's going to ask you some information. So I'm going to go through some of this, but since I don't want to do this part, I already have in another tab, in another window, I have already an account open. So, but this is pretty much the typical registration that you're going to get. So first, I don't know, I'm going to say John. I should so Doe, USA, please enter, well, address. So you have to put, depending on your location, where you're going to send all these things. So I don't think it allows me. Okay, so 123 Cherry Street. I will have to delete this account later. Otherwise, Gabby, that I see her in the, she's going to kill me for submitting garbage. 30508 state region. Right now I'm located in Georgia, so let's say Georgia, and etc. etc. Okay, 410652289. Okay, confirm. Oh man, if I copy the right things in the right place, it would be awesome. Okay, 47086522289. And city, I'm going to say Atlanta. That's it. A little bit bogus, obviously. So it's going to send an email, and after that, you're going to get the completion of that. Since I didn't want to wait for that part, I already had another account open. And of course, I time out. I mean, okay, this one. When you complete the first part, you should be able to get to your account, and it's going to be something like this. Now, this account I created, I think last year. I wanted just to kind of like test a few things. It's still under my name. And right now, I'm just a free distribution seller. That's really important because if you have a free game, pretty much, uh, if you want to just submit a game that is free, you can do it right away. You don't really have any problems with that. You just have to get the APK that we just created, kind of, and just follow the process that we're going to check later, and well, in a few minutes. If not, you will have to fill here this request commercial seller status. Why? Why do you have that? Because if you're going to start charging for your applications, then usually when you have to do anything with money in every country, you're going to involve taxes. You're going to involve like account where Samsung is going to put money in. When then that's something that you just cannot say like, hey, bogus information, like what I just did in the other side. So this one I didn't do it here, but you are going to be asked to submit a few documents and some information that you're going to need to get your commercial seller status. But for this webinar, we're just going to focus on our free distribution seller account, and this is something that you can do pretty much 10 minutes after we're done with this webinar. The other thing that I would like to point here is that directly on the seller portal, it gives you a lot of information. It gives you a lot of resources, like including information or links directly to the Samsung in-app purchase SDK. That is the one that I'm going to cover like in 2 weeks. And also, where did I see it? Marketing resources. So it helps you to create like badges and things to promote your application, your game, after it's published. So if you create your account today or in the next couple of days, I would recommend to check some of the information that we have shared here directly in the seller portal, because I think it's quite useful for you. Okay. Right now, the first time that you enter, obviously you're not going to have any applications here. I do have one that I tested last year, and I think I kind of left it there. I didn't do anything with it. But this is going to be the list of all the applications that you have. First time is going to be empty. And then you have other things that are important for you afterwards, like the statistics that is going to tell you who's downloading your game, where, I don't know, like if you have in-app purchases, you're also going to find a lot of information there. But since it's the first time, we're just going to, well, you could go directly to applications or this big red button that we had here that is add a new application. So you have 2 main options here, an Android application or Galaxy. Okay, and like I mentioned, you can upload to the seller store, to the Samsung Galaxy store, also applications for the Samsung Galaxy watches. So since today we're concentrating on Unity, we are just going to pick an Android. Well, obviously it tells me the language, so you immediately see which one is the default one, and we're going to go through some of the process. So you see here on this side, like the main steps that we have to go through, and we're going to try to do that and explain the different steps. And by the time that you end these 5 steps, then you should be able to hit submit and then start the review process. So here at the top, if you're already experienced or it's the first time, you can say that the mode is going to be simple or advanced. Almost in every single step, you have this little like text or speech bubbles that gives you more information. So in this case, it tells you what is it that you want here. So after we check the simple ones, I'm going to change it to advanced because specifically I want the tax. So we can check that. The other thing that I think it's important is that if you already have a Google app, so in this case would be a game that is in the well, in Google Play, you can import a lot of the information and you don't have to do this manually. It's going to ask you your credentials, so it gets the information from the specific app that you're trying to import, but you don't have to do that in general. After that, if you don't import, what you should be able to do is just start filling the different fields. So the application title, so the game of your name, the name of your game. Man, dyslexia is hitting hard today. And you have up to 150 letters, characters that you can put here. That's still a really long name. Then you're going to have your description, that of course you have 12,000 characters that you can put here, so that's a really long description if you feel it. I do think that it's really important that the first time you pay attention to this one, because this helps you in the store to be discovered. So if your game has something special, like, I don't know, let's suppose that you are able to iron a deal with Nintendo and you have something that has with Pokemon. Well, you should mention that here, because quite likely that is going to help players to find that game, and everything that you think is going to differentiate your game from other games, you should put it here. At the same time, well, if your game doesn't have anything to do with Pokemon, like you are trying to just play the system, and there's a good chance that you are going to be flagged for copyright in a case like that. So if you don't have the rights to put something here, well, just don't do it. Now, you have different images that you should have ready, and fortunately it tells you right here, like the restrictions, like the format, so PNG, the size, and also well, the actual size in pixels, and the size of the file that you're going to submit, the image that you're going to submit here. Since in the store you can submit many different kinds of applications, if you are also submitting an edge screen, so like the applications that appear here, like you are also, well, it has anything to do with that, you can also include those images, those icons that have different resolutions, so you can see it here. Also, the screenshots, really important. You can click here for drop several images, and it gives you the maximum and minimum, so between 4 to 8. I would recommend to create 8, because this is one of the things that users, that players are going to check. You can even use one image here directly with promotional information. So saying like, this is the best Diegomon game that you have ever played. So, or like, yeah, my own Pokemon version, and apparently I'm fixated with Pokemon today. So this is really important that you get this, because otherwise, if a customer gets to your page and they see, let's say, only one screenshot or a really poor quality screenshot, then they may not pick it, and there's even a chance that, especially if it's poor quality, that the reviewers are going to come back to tell you like, hey, this is not great, so you should do something about that. Now, specifically for games, you should look for the category that you need here. Obviously, it's going to be games. And then you have to pick the subcategory that best match your game. So even though the list of games, the number of games that we have in the Galaxy Store is well curated, and it's much easier for you to stand out, you're still going to be competing with the people in the same subcategory. So if you say that you are creating a role-playing game, you are going to try to get to the top of that specific list. So if you pick the wrong one, you may not get the right customers that are not going to give you the right reviews, and then you're never going to rise to the top. So, but in this case, well, I'm just going to say that I'm creating a role-playing game. Age restriction, depending on the content that you have, you may have to restrict it, or if it's something that is, let's say, suitable for the entire family, just say 0, and that's it. If it's something that is more mature, well, quite likely you will have to include 18 plus. And that's where you're also going to get the rating certificate. So if you are in a specific country, and there are some countries that are more strict about this than others, but you can see the different certificates that you are going to need. So, and it tells you in each one of them where is that available. So in some cases, it's not that hard to get that, and usually when you go through the process to get a certification for one specific game, they are going to give you a file that you are going to be able to upload here. So in this, and well, it tells you. So, well, if you have any that helps you to be accepted in the store, and also to be searched for, and specifically in the countries that these different certifications cover. Now, supported languages. So obviously you have the default, but in my case I put English, But if you have translation directly in your game of different languages, you should put that here. And this one that I really love, that is YouTube video, YouTube URL. So I have seen in the Galaxy Store, one of the first things that appear is the video if you have anything created there. So you could make a simple video that shows the gameplay of your game, and you could combine it if you have some time, perhaps edit it and put some promotional information in the video itself. That would be great. And since it's pointing to that specific video, and it's going to be seen on the Galaxy Store, you could even like promote the company itself. You can put the logo of your company, My Awesome Company, so people can begin to get familiarized with your branding and look for new games in the future. So it gives you there. Now, the last thing that we get here is the support email. This could be the same email that we use to create the account, or it could be a different one. If it's the same one, then you just say support, and then you get that, or not, so depending. And then I'm going to go back here to the advanced, and it's going to give you a couple more options, specifically the tags. I think it's really important. So this is the thing you're going to find when you are uploading a video, let's say on YouTube, and you can help customers, players to find your game using these tags. So if it's something with role-playing game, you can put it there, or something as a specific genre that is not covering the subcategories. It could be like a roguelike. It could be, fighting, we have that subcategory, but really specific games like, I don't know, tower defense, that use to find your game, I would recommend to put them here. So you have a limited amount, but you can think it, you can change them over time. So that's where the statistics are going to come in play later. When you publish something, you can start checking like how to promote your game, and perhaps changing the tags that your game has in another version could be useful, could bring a new audience. Apart from that, I think most of the things we already cover. So private policy, if you already have a private policy, for whatever reason, a specific game is asking for personal information, you can point to that. Places like Europe is quite strict about this kind of thing, specifically with personal information. So if it's not just, I don't know, a platformer game, if you're asking information from your user, from your players in any way, quite likely you will have to write a privacy policy. There are some that you can find online, so you pretty much can copy it and modify it to make it your own, but just to let people know that you are not doing anything with their personal information or any identifiable information or data that you may be getting from them. That really depends on the game that you are creating. And things here specifically like copyright holder, if you are working for a company, so you are not the owner, you are not the full owner of whatever game you are creating, you are just kind of like submitting in representation of a company, something like that, then you may have to put who's the copyright holder. So if there's any legal matter, they can reach that person. And the same thing with support URL. If you want people to go to a specific website in case that they have, I don't know, they want to report any bug or whatever it is, or just general information that they want to say, that's where you go. So, okay, this is the general information. Let's go really quick to, the binary. The binary, yes. So the binary, this is where you're going to submit your APK. So you can submit several binaries, and you're going to see why. And it's because you could have different APKs or different versions of your game depending on the resolution. Or you just could say like, hey, my game somehow is able to adapt to the different screen resolutions, and I'm just going to submit one. It is going to ask you if you are connecting with the Google mobile services in any way. And then here is where you're going to say binary upload to get the APK that I was showing here. So I'm not going to do it like 23 megabytes. I don't really need to, but this is exactly where it is. So this section is relatively simple. You already did all the hard part in Unity. Here is just uploading that file. But also here, if you have beta testing, this is where you're going to do that. So you can upload it to the store and not make it open, not make it available for the regular user. Then this is where you're going to get it. Now, country, region, and price. So, well, here I'm not going to have the option of paid because, like I said, this is not uh, a commercial account. So you're just going to have the free version. That's what you're going to start with. I'm going to go directly here, advanced. And here you're going to see all the countries that you're going to be able directly to submit, and you have like some Galaxy stores that are specific to different countries. And if for some reason you don't want to have a global audience, you just want to sell something that is, I don't know, in Finland, well, you can uncheck all of them and then just go and say, I want Finland. I don't know exactly why, but perhaps you have like a Finnish game that want to be available in Finland. Well, this is exactly where you're to learn how to do that. And well, you have the different stores like the Pan Latin, so all Latin America, for example, or Pan Africa. And this is where you're going to check that. The start publication, this is quite interesting, is because after you submit the game, it's going to take some time to be reviewed. So I have mentioned curated several times. This is the part where being a curated store comes into play. This is not going to be an automatic process. An actual persons are going to check the file that you send, and then they're going to do some testing. So in a couple of cases that I've submitted things that had errors, I really liked it because they even sent me a video. They were for watch apps, and they sent me a video of them testing the application, and it was really easy in the video. Instead of like reading a long description of what was the error, in the video they were showing me directly what was going there. Depending on the errors that they may find, or depending on the suggestions that they have, the feedback that you're going to get is going to be different. So if it's something simple that is like I don't know, a Unity error that is being thrown there, they may just send you back like a message with the error itself, or it could be something a little bit more complex. But the entire point is that someone is checking into that. And the start publication, you can decide to publish it right after it passes the review, or you can say like, nope, I actually want on a specific date. And then the problem is that if it takes for a long time, for whatever reason, you're not able to, well, your application has too many errors and the reviewers are taking a lot of time to review all those aspects, then you may have to change the select date. That's why they're telling you like, hey, a warning that you should pick a date that considers that, and you can decide like what time, GMT, or like, yeah, whatever, depending on what it is. This is great specifically if you have some sort of marketing campaign, because then you can coordinate. Then you can say like, hey, I'm going to publish this game 2 weeks from now. I know that it's going to pass review at that point. And then my entire marketing campaign, my newsletter, my website, images, videos, whatever I have set up for this specific game is going to be ready, so you can coordinate here when it's going to be published and it's going to be available at the same time. Then you can also say when is going to be stop published, that publication. I don't know exactly what that would be useful for a game, but for other applications, it can be useful if you have something that is available for a specific time. I don't know, like a seasonal application, something that is only available on December for Christmas for whatever reason. Then, well, you can say when it's going to be stopped. So you say. Finally, in-app purchase. So right now, since I am not, again, a commercial account in this case, I'm not going to be able to do much here. But, well, at least you can get the access to the in-app purchase guide, which I said is something that we're going to check in a future webinar. But this is going to even explain how it operates, how it works between your app, the SDK, the client, and how that's going to work. So this is where you get that information. And finally, you have the review. This is where you can send additional information to the review team. So you can say like, this is how I'm expecting this game to work, and you can send even like small screenshots or like a small file if you have like a manual, something like that. Still, if you really need like a manual to explain how your application works, perhaps like your UI is a little bit too complex, then check that. But hey, if you have something that you know that could create some sort of problem, or just want to say hello to the review team, this is the place where you're going to do that, and then you just save it. When all these steps are saved, then you should be able to submit that file, that game, as a beta test, if that's what you want, or just submit if you just want to start the publication process. But that's pretty much where you are. So, okay, so right now, this covers most of the things that I wanted to share with you. So what is the Galaxy Store? An awesome curated app store that belongs to Samsung and that gives you the possibility to reach another audience, the global audience of Samsung. How to get things done on Unity. So we can check that. That is pretty much on the build that is over here. And if you were not able to follow that, then just go to the learn.unity.com page and look for Android, and then you're going to have this great 30-minute tutorial that is going to guide you on how to publish for Android. And when you have that file, then you just have to go to developer.samsung.com and then find the link for the Galaxy Store, and then you can follow the entire process that we check during the last few minutes. That is to add a new application and go through the different steps to give information about your application. So, that being said, we are still not in the hour. So if you have any questions, I would like to answer those questions right now. And in the meantime, I'm going to go here to the contact page. You can send us comments or questions or, well, any help that you may need to this email or directly to me. And this is on Twitter also. You can follow me. Well, Twitter and almost all social media, you can find me like that.